All right. After a minor technical failure, we are back. Everything appears to be working good. Everything loaded back up, no problem. We're back on the stream, and where we left off, I believe I had mentioned that the large ships appear as though they could land on the planet if they wanted to, but they are the crew or the ships that are going down to the planet are the smaller ones. That look like they're single, maybe 2 riders at the most. So you're probably going to guess no more than 24 people down on the planet, plus yourselves, which I think is an important number to note. And I believe that Ambrose would probably have looked into that on his way down. So, all right. Down on the planet, I assume you're beaming down.
Don't see why not.
Yeah.
Okay. You beam down a little bit after they arrive, so they've had a little bit of time to think to get things began. You know that there are a number of tent-like structures that have been set up or are being set up around the fielded areas where you guys were before. There was one of the cairns here. There was one of the stone structures that was here. You should have been able to find one if you hadn't before. There was one here.
It was.
Yeah. So they're situated largely around that structure. They're not huge tents, but they're fairly large. They're probably, what you would expect a 5 or 6 person tent to be. There's a couple other larger tents as well that are, not quite circus tent sized, but, wedding assembly sized. And then there's a number of people going in and out of the main cairn structure. No one is really paying any attention to the fields. But you also see this guy here. I don't know if you guys can see this one that I'm selecting. But there's a number of those. They're dressed like that. They have what looks like spears, but quick glance will also note that they are probably also an energy weapon. So yeah, there's probably a dozen or so of those, half dozen of those on the planet, those guys that you're seeing moving around. 2 of them are standing near the main door to the cairn. And this other gentleman right here, who is wearing some armor and what looks like a light cape, station, looks like he's wearing a uniform of station. It matches similar to the uniforms that these guys are wearing, but slightly more ornate. He's standing there. He is not. These are similar looking photos, but they're not the same guy. As you beam in and see all of that, he leans to one of the other guard type people and says something, and then the 3 of them begin walking towards you. Did you take any weapons with you?
I'm sure we would
Yeah.
at least have
Yes.
a tattoos.
Yeah, we have type 2s.
It's the standard type 1, type 2s.
Yeah.
Okay. As he approaches, he stands tall. These guys are probably 6'5", 6'6" in that region. All 3 of them are pretty much in that height range. You see some of the ones walking around, they might get closer to 7 foot, but that's the tallest you're seeing any of them be. They're pretty big guys. As he approaches, he raises his hand and gestures in what you're guessing is a kind of a salute. It's sort of a almost like a power gesture, but it's more to his side, and he seems to hold himself with some esteem. I assume that you are the captain of Europa. I am Venru. I am the Sinin of Dan Tajur. No, sorry, the Nita. I am the Nita, which is a title. Roughly translate to Warbringer.
Okay.
You are expected.
Very good. It is a pleasure to meet with you, Venru, and your people.
He looks you up and down, points to the thing on your belt. Is this a weapon?
It is a small handheld energy projectile.
A little bit of a smile on his face. Very well. This way. I assume you follow him.
Yeah.
Right. The two guards and him escort.
Can I pick up anything off of them?
The guards are easy to read. He is not. They have a very stoicism at the moment. They don't feel nervous or anything. They just feel like because you're empath. Professional calmness, I guess. Like they're expecting no real threat, but they're obviously at a ready. He's more difficult to read. It's not impossible to read him. It's just he's got more of a veneer on his mind, more steel.
I'm kind of mostly interested if that little smile was a like scoff look at their puny weapons, or odd, yes, fellow warbringer, I respect you for being smart and coming armed.
Actually, the sense you get was more of a, and I was right.
Okay.
So.
I don't think Yezebet's going to be able to help but bringing out her tricorder and scanning the aliens as we walk through the room.
Do you want to do that?
Yes.
Okay. We'll give that. We'll assume that is gathering information in case we need to do something later. Okay. So as you approach the large cairn, you notice that they have put up a number of multicolored banners on the outside. They're on poles. Nothing is attached to any structures. It's all just poles and banners. They're brightly colored, which is in contrast to the colors that these guys are wearing are largely golds and reds and silvers. It's a very Romanesque color scheme until you get to the banners, and then it's a lot of like bright colors with different symbols on them. There's about you can see 8 banners currently, and they all have different symbols on them, and they're all different colors. Obviously, it's some kind of heraldic display. The images on them range from things like Arun to some of the weapons that these guys have that they're carrying, stuff like that. So it's pretty easily identifiable as like a heraldic thing. As you enter into the room, into the cairn, it is much brighter than it was before. There are a number of trying to think of the word, things that hold fire, cauldrons, braziers. That's what I'm looking for. A number of braziers,
flaming braziers.
Yes, braziers. Yes, liberation movement all over. There are a number of braziers, but they're not holding actual fire. They appear to be holding some kind of plant that is emitting a fairly light colored bioluminescence. There's a fragrance in the room that was not there before. On top of the smell of these people, which is kind of a almost an acidic tone, almost like if you spray too much Lysol in a room. That's kind of the first hit that gets you. But on top of that, there's also a very floral pattern in the room that's probably coming from these plants. It's a very pleasant, almost rosy scent. Standing in the middle of the room, looking at some of the other people that are in the room, they're doing various odd jobs. They have several like tablet type computers, large mechanical interfaces and whatnot that are being laid out on benches, and the places where there looked like in the cairn and where there might have been tables and things like that, they're laying things out.
Okay. Do they seem to be accessing the computers we saw? We saw them have some kind of machinery here. Have they like plugged into those?
Most of that machinery was on the moons, I thought. There
Okay,
would be a little bit here, and yes, they are accessing it. Yeah.
Okay.
There's also a number of on one of the larger flat surfaces. There's also a number of maps, and a couple people are going over them, and you can hear vaguely them discussing like crop yields and stuff like that. The Ladon, the man that you saw earlier, is talking, sitting in the middle of the room watching some people work, and he's talking to one of the other guard type persons. When he sees you approaching, and he shoos that person away, kind of in a dismissive gesture, and turns to the lot of you. Venru, thank you for bringing them in. You are command. He is a slight bit taller than the rest of them. He's in the 6'9", 6'10" range. I believe you must be Captain Ambrose. Yes,
That is correct.
it is excellent to meet you. I am Rana Ladan Tenjur. I am the leader of the people, and we welcome you to our world, which we suspect, looking around at some of the things that we are seeing. You may have been here before. What do you think of this fine planet?
It is quite a garden world that you've cultivated. A very pleasant place.
It serves many purposes. We are grateful to have such access.
I hope that our curiosity has not disturbed the tranquility of your space here. We tried to be as non-invasive as possible.
These worlds are vast, and there is plenty for all. There is no damage and no harm, and the food that this planet yields will provide for us all. You will say you are explorers, as he turns and begins to head back towards the maps area.
Yes, we Starfleet, that is the organization we hail from. An exploratory wing of our government, the Federation of Planets. We have a mission to seek out new life and new civilizations and to explore the galaxy. We're quite far from home.
I see. My worlds. We do not explore much. We are wanderers, but we stay within the ranges of what we are given. Why do your people leave? What is the reason for your explorations? He begins fiddling with some maps as he's, talking to you.
I suppose you could say we are a very curious people. This federation of ours is composed of hundreds of different civilizations, thousands of worlds. We like to meet others and learn about them and get new perspectives. It betters our understanding of who we are and our place in the galaxy.
It is a noble pursuit. Well, we are the people. We are... We have been referred to as... There is another name we have been given, but I cannot... Dejarin, I think, is the word that is used by the others. Regardless, we are a nomadic folk, and my people do not possess such curiosity. Hopefully, we can be of interest to you, though. Look at this. What's that?
You said you're nomadic, but is there a world you originated on? Is it somewhere here in the cluster?
Oh, that's a good question. I am not aware. There are many legends that the people of the Dajarin have come from a place outside of this valley, the worlds of plenty. But it's some time. It is not from my grandfather's time, even. It is many. The stories change, Stories are fluid. There is no known home world to our people. We spend our time on our ships. We spend time with the Aren, and we come to these worlds all throughout the valleys. We share them with the others, and we keep mostly to ourselves, as there are many risks outside of this valley. And while our people are not strangers to war, we are not many, and we do not seek it.
Well, we seek only peaceful contact. So rest assured, you will not have to worry about us.
Look at this. And he pulls up the map and gives it to you. This is what we see our system. You have spent time on many of these worlds, yes?
Some more than others, but yes.
Have you seen any evidence, any traces of hostile beings? And he points to one of the worlds and taps on the ice planet in particular.
No, in fact, seems to be no carnivorous creatures even, which is pretty unusual for this. Pretty unusual for this high frequency of M-class worlds. Well, I'm sorry, I'm trailing off here.
He gestures. Yes. Excellent. He kind of rolls the paper bucket and hands it back to one of the other people. If you have seen no signs, then all is good. He gestures to one of the people and says something very quickly, and they salute and head out to several seconds later, you hear one of the ships taking off. Oh, hey.
I heard that.
Yeah, that was my fault.
Yeah.
I didn't turn the pads down, and I accidentally hit one of the
Red
buttons.
alert.
Yeah, right? Yes. So,
Do you expect hostility from that particular planet?
no, but in past we have found a suited people. I do not remember their name, but they were a hostile force some years ago, 1 or 2 years ago, cycles ago. They came here in a ship and crashed in the area. We have done our best to ensure that they do not return, as their lizards just seem to be hostile. They called themselves the Bren.
This name sounds familiar. Did we encounter these guys before?
He's probably pronouncing it incorrectly.
You
mean the Breen?
Yes, that is the word. They came here from, they claim, a portal in space. Came through and crashed with their bug ship and their lizards.
Are the Breen lizards?
No, but the Jem'Hadar look like lizards.
I see. Gotcha.
That would be an Ambrose would probably catch that no problem.
Yeah, Amber, yeah.
I don't suppose you have any scans of these people, or maybe stolen technology, or perhaps a thermal scan, anything like that.
He snaps his fingers and gestures. Bring me this. And he says something in a something your translators don't catch. And somebody hands him a pad. Gives it to you. And this is what I have. What is left of them. We have. Those who are hostile as they were have no place here, and they were resolved. Which you get this sense of pride from him in your in your empathy. He hands you the sheet.
What was this?
It says he points to the thing. on the paper on the pad, and tells you a number of cycles, four cycles. It looks like, which your translator brings out to be about a year and a half, 2 years ago, mid Dominion War.
Okay.
I'll take whatever's data I can from the pad and transfer it to the tricorder.
Yep. It is definitely a Jem'Hadar ship. There appears to have crashed. There was a Breen survivor, a number of Jem'Hadar survivors. There were no other survivors. They were all eradicated, and all traces of them were discarded. So
while they're having this conversation, Ambrose is just going to discreetly, turn around and sort of talk quietly in his communicator. Commander DeSavi, I'd like you to keep an eye out on the horizon up there. I've just learned that about a year and a half ago, there was some Dominion activity in this area. Breen and Jem'Hadar seems to have been taken care of, but stay vigilant.
Sir. She will order broader scans. If we can narrow in to any Dominion signals.
There was also mention of a portal, probably a wormhole, likely unstable. See if you can pinpoint that.
After a few more minutes of just general chatter and discussion, some people come in. They look a little bit different. I didn't get a picture of them yet. I was still looking to find a good one, but they look like a more diminutive version of these guys. You can't tell from this photo, but the guys with the spears actually look different too. They've got a different facial structure, and they've got like tentacles coming off their lips. If you zoom way in on this, you can see it better. But there's basically it's 3 different species is what you get from that. Different but similar. Anyway, this third group that comes in, they're much more diminutive. They're probably small human, not dwarfishly small, but smaller than normal humans, probably in the 4 or 5 range, 6 foot range, 4'5" to 5'6" range. And they come in with a number of like pulled behind, hovering, like almost like grav lifts, tables and things that are covered. And there's a new smell that enters the room. It is a fragrant, a cross between like beef and chicken kind of smell, as well as a lot of like aromatic fruits and vegetables kind of smells. And they pull these things in and lay them around the outer wall of the Quran. So anyway, the outer wall area of the Quran, and the Ladan gestures. Ah, yes, it is time. There are some perks to being the Rana. Please join me. And Venru also makes his way towards the newly entered items. And as these two approach, and the guards and whatnot approach, the smaller creatures, the smaller people lift the lids off of these things, and there are plates just heaped over with various kinds of food. There's meats and vegetables and fruits and beverages and all kinds of things that look actually quite tasty, similar in fashion and cook and style to human food. A quick scan from your tricorder shows that it is all palatable and edible food.
Does this match up with this is the food that has been growing here, right?
A lot of it is, yep. This food that you found on these worlds, there's a few plants and stuff that you don't recognize from the scans you've done, and the meat appears to be largely Ahren meat.
Okay.
There are other types of meat there, but that is the largest heaping is the Aharen meat.
Well, it seems simple, Captain.
Please join us, if you will.
Thank you for your hospitality. This all looks quite delicious. As you said, perks to being the Rana.
As he takes a plate and begins putting food on it, you note that you quickly note that no one is actually eating yet, as he's people are getting their plates together, and obviously he goes first, but it's not like he finishes and then everyone else goes. He takes the first of the line and begins going. When it all is done, when he's gathered all the food and things, he moves back to the center of the room and raises his hand up. Everyone becomes quiet and turns to him. And he begins speaking. My friends, we have once again been graced with the Aren's gifts to us. We wish to thank and be thankful for all that we have been given. The sacrifice of a creature to sustain us all, it is a regrettable necessity of life. We owe it to those who have died before us and those who have sacrificed themselves to be our sustenance, to live the best we can, and to ensure the safety of those in the future who come here. The Aren are not just our... he says something in his language that your tricorder doesn't catch, but it's something roughly that translates to sustenance. But they are also our responsibility. In the recent months, we have seen new hunting of the beasts. Once this day is complete, we have replenished our stores, we will find the culprits, and while war is not our path, sometimes it is necessary. He points over to the other guy, Veneru Ardo. Veneru Adro is Nunu Neta. He will show us the way to bringing these hostile forces into line. Many of us will most likely have this one last feast, but the sacrifice of those will be to sustain the others. And for that we give all we are, our thanks, our strength, and our futures. Then he says something else and raises up his piece of fruit and takes a huge bite, at which point everyone else cheers and begin eating.
Just speaking out of character, do we want to ask them about this, or? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So the food begins. You guys are, I assume you're going to actually eat.
Is this like just standing and milling about like banquet style?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Banquet hall style? Okay.
Yep. They don't really appear to have a whole lot in the way of chairs.
Do they eat with their hands?
They do.
Okay. Varen is going to have trouble with that.
Heading back up to the ship, Dasavi, you note that one of the harvesters begins moving off. The small ships are still going back and forth between all the harvesters and the other large warship. They're clearly ferrying supplies and whatnot between everything. But one of the harvesters begins moving off towards the one of the Three Stooges.
No.
So And you're getting quick sensor readings on it show that it is experiencing some kind of mechanical difficulties. It is leaking some kind of not plasma, but some kind of plasma-like substance. It's the same. It's actually emitting the same signature as the Haren do when they're going into FTL. And it is apparently leaking something.
Which of the was it one of the Three Stooges planets that was that had the dock?
All three of the planets. All the Three Stooges all have the
three of
docks
them.
on them. Yeah.
Okay. I will hail the ship.
All right. On screen, one of the smaller, more diminutive aliens comes on screen. Yes. How may we be of service to you?
You are leaking. Your ship appears to be damaged. Do you need assistance?
He checks a couple of things. We are damaged. We have suffered a failure of a containment unit. We are heading to. Do I have a name for the moons? I don't think I named the moons. I did not. Oh yeah, we did. We're heading towards Svert. We are going to effect repairs. And he kind of nods you get a distinctive impression from these guys. They are very meek.
Okay.
He has a feeling, like the sense that you get from him is that he does not want to be of any trouble to you.
Do you have what you need? Do you need assistance? We have some very capable engineers.
There's a bit of hesitancy, and then he looks around, and we would be most grateful for any assistance you can provide. You get there's a definite he does not mean that. He says it, but it's very much oh God, don't come over here.
I don't wish to trouble you. If you would prefer to handle things on your own, I don't want to intrude.
We welcome you aboard ship. It is the will of Rana Tajur that you be provided all experiences. Please, you may come.
Very well. I will send a couple of my engineers.
We should pick a team.
Hmm?
We should pick a team
Yeah.
to go over.
I
feel like Tong should be on the team.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna send Tong and Koba.
I actually would rather Dasabi or Silva go.
Silva's not security.
No, but they might be piloting issues.
I can send both, but I suppose we could just send random security person A.
Yeah, it's up to you guys. If he wants to take Silva, that's fine.
What sort of vessel is this?
It's one of the harvesters.
The harvesters. Okay.
Yeah, it's one of the big
biggest.
Ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the biggest of the three big ships.
Okay.
Not again, they're size 3, but still.
I could go with Silva and Koba. I'm not opposed to that, but you should definitely have a character that goes as well.
I don't have any characters that would go. I don't have any characters that would make sense for it to go.
Okay. It's up to you.
Well, I mean, Dasavi.
Yes, Dasavi is just going to leave the ship. The captain said somebody in command should stay on Europa, so Dasavi is going to go over to the Harvester.
It's additional first contact,
Why did you disobey my heavily suggested not really in order? Because
it was a suggestion and not an order.
You didn't say I had to, you just said I should.
O'Connor could go. Just put that.
It really would make sense for her.
Okay. Yeah, but I think Silva. I'm sure we have one of we have runabouts, right? I'm sure one of them have they have modular packages, so we could probably put like an engineering package on one of them in case there's any extravehicular repairs that need to be done.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
So Silva is going to be readying the shuttle when Tong arrives. And she says, "Finally, we get to go on a mission together."
Yes, I heard we're going to be meeting some new people. First contact, or well, I guess first 0.5 contact, second contact. Is it considered second contact if first contact is still in contact?
I believe it's gone. It goes second, so I do think it's second contact.
Second contact.
Perfect. I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to it. Second contact's the more fun anyway. You get to actually roll up your sleeves and get shit done. Not just fancy state dinners.
I'm interested to see what their technology is like.
Me too. Speaking of which, and I would like to spend an opportunity cost to say that there is a device that can do high-tech technology scans on people, like a Starfleet intelligence device that is made for exactly this kind of situation.
Like, what kind of information do you want to get, I guess is the question.
Technological information, specifications, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So I can make up a name. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's fine.
This is a spec scanner. It's Starfleet. It's a Starfleet intelligence device. I was thinking, while we're there, we can get some scans. See if these people are up to something.
Up to something. Yes, everyone's up to something.
That's what I'm thinking. Glad we're on this. I'm great minds think alike.
Yes, very good.
Where are we
the more
having
we know.
this conversation?
In the shuttle bay.
The runabout.
All right.
Not on the bridge.
No.
Yeah.
Who would be in charge of this away mission? Is Tong in charge?
I believe Tong would be the number one
Tong is
guy.
in charge.
Um,
Before you go, Dasavi would tell you this is still, in a sense, first contact. Be mindful of etiquette and be careful to not offend. They seemed outwardly eager, but inwardly reluctant to accept our assistance. So do find the balance between doing everything and not doing enough, if that makes sense.
loud and clear, Commander.
And
I commend.
certainly no improvements.
Right. No improvements.
Yeah, that would be bad.
I know how you engineers get.
Well, I'm sure we'll all be fast friends.
Don't worry, Commander. We know when to hold our cards close to our chest. Right, Tom?
Of course.
Right.
I actually think the scene would be more interesting if it's just these two. Can we just make it these two? Like, I wouldn't see a need for a security detail to go along either.
No, we are sending security.
Yeah, we're sending
Savi is
security.
absolutely
Have to
not
send
sending
security.
you to a strange ship without security.
It doesn't have to be Koba, but it would
It doesn't
definitely.
even,
No, yeah.
yeah, just red shirt or yellow shirt A and
Yeah.
B in the background.
They're setting it back,
That's fine.
being extras. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I can imagine. So Picard would have probably sent people over with no security guards, but Ambrose would not do that. And Ambrose would get really mad if Dasavi did that.
The away team.
Dasavi would not do that either.
I'm just going to point out the away team pairing is like a staple of Star Trek. There isn't a series that doesn't do that.
Yeah.
But you take two. You take two characters who have chemistry together, you put them in a shuttlecraft, you push that shuttlecraft into the plot. That's how it works.
And security guards are way overused in role-playing games. It's just a feature of the gaming. So yeah, you guys head over in the runabout with a couple of unnamed security agents, Tong and Silva. Back on the planet.
DeSavio also send a message via pad, I think, to the captain to apprise him.
Yeah, not enough text messaging goes on in Star Trek, you know?
Wait.
I like to think that we've moved past that technology. We tried it for a while, didn't work out. We're on to better things now, which is hitting your chest.
Just happens to go to who you want to talk to.
Just always good. Well, it knows. It knows.
They know how to create utopia.
That's right. So yeah, the captain, you get a beeper message. And Star Trek was biggest in the 90s. You get a little beeper message.
Mm-hmm.
Pull out your Motorola. But yeah, it's Desavi has sent you a message. Message for what's that?
The message is just basically Harvester took off from the planet leaking, with their permission, sent Tong and Silva to repair and security.
Yeah. He'll push one of the pre-established reply options.
Right.
To keep me apprised.
Yeah.
A little email button that comes up.
Yeah. Oh, it's like Google. You just hit the button and it's like, reply with that. Yeah. Star Trek is run by Google.
Yep.
I buy it.
Yeah. The message goes back. Obviously, you're all good there. Anything else you want to do on the planet? Anything else any other group wants to do before we progress? I know you guys had there's stuff on the table you guys can do stuff with. What do you want to do?
Do you want us to roll, like try to make a good impression during the banquet?
If you want to. Just to establish a ground. I'm still holding on to a complication from earlier, so.
That's true.
I mean, one of Ambrose's focuses is diplomatic relations.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys, so for those kind of roles, I generally use those for like if you're trying to accomplish a specific task, like not just making friendly, but if you want to accomplish a specific thing, or if you're trying to do like a long-term. For me, and this is a problem I think that exists in role-playing games in general, but I tend to go to role-play through it and do it that way rather than making the roles. But obviously, there's the roles are there, and the characters are usually better at something than you guys are. So if you want to make a role, I can use it and adapt with it. I don't usually think that way though. So if you guys want to do it, feel free to remind me that's the thing that you can do in the game, and we'll do it.
But I do have something for that because I did want to sort of cozy up to this guy, and see if I could diplomatically engage him in conversation about what this like the speech he just gave. Who are these people?
Right.
What are the Aren to you? You say they're your responsibility. Are you their protectors? Do you lay claim to them? Do you know anything about these people? And I don't think we need to go into a long drawn out conversation, like actual role play. But we do have a lot of information on the Aren that we could share with them as well. I'm sure they have that information already, but just as a point of common ground, be like, hey, we saw the Aren before. We're familiar with them. We assisted in a birth, and hopefully that doesn't offend them.
Right.
But I mean, everything we've done with the Aren has been, not only peaceful but helpful to the Aren. So showing that we have this experience with these creatures that they seem to maybe not venerate, but at least hold some responsibility and appreciation for. Talk about how we're familiar with the Breen and the Jem'Hadar, and ask a little bit more about that situation and the whole like common enemies sort of thing and kind of
Yeah.
parallel that with whatever new adversary they may have going on to press for more information.
Right.
Yeah, I would also love to find out more about that adversary.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and give me the roll. I don't have a sheet in front of me, but that's going to be probably presence, I would think.
Sense?
Presence command.
Presence and command probably makes the most sense. Yep.
Does the preparation that we did ahead of time
Yeah.
give advantage?
Yeah, I would give that.
Cool.
Okay.
So your difficulty is going to be 3 -1 for the backlog information. You got all the information that you guys already have for your advantage, and the preparation work that was done earlier. So your difficulty is 2, which in a first contact is a pretty good difficulty.
And remind me, what can I do with values?
So a lot actually.
Yeah. Trying to bring up my cheat sheet.
The simplest thing that values do is you can use a value to use determination. What's that, Brian?
You can use determination to add +2. That's the simplest thing.
Yes. Yeah. The simplest thing is you can basically spend it to use determination, which gives you an automatic two successes, as if you rolled a single die and got a 1 on it.
Yeah.
That is the simplest thing you can do. Honestly, the looseness of the Star Trek system, if you have something you want to do with your value, you want it to apply in some way that is not rule specific, I am up for it. But that is the simplest mechanical thing for it.
Yeah. Well, I have the value respect must be given to be earned. And this guy does seem to be very proud of his Rana title.
Yeah.
It seems like this is a society that is very much based in a hierarchical structure.
Yeah.
And I think Ambrose has a lot of, between his military career and his diplomatic career, or at least his diplomatic training before the war broke out, would like to kind of toe that line between deference and also being a peer, being an equal, because he is a captain. He is the representative of Starfleet right now.
Right.
So finding that middle ground to be respectful of his title and be respectful of the hospitality that they're providing, and first contact in general, in the hopes that respect will then be given, because respect is different than just hospitality. He wants to impress these people, impress Ladon, and also have him see himself as the captain as an equal to.
Right. So in addition to trying to get the information, as part of getting the information that you're trying to get as far as what the other race is and doing all these things, you want to basically establish yourself as a near peer to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll say the difficulty is probably still going to be 2, because of the prep work that you've done and everything else.
Okay.
Yeah. But I will say that I will spend 1, 2, 3 threat to make the complication range higher. In the off chance that you offend him during your attempt to make yourself seem near his equal.
Oh boy. Okay. All right.
And then I do have a complication from earlier that I might do something with, but I still haven't done anything with it yet. So I'm holding on to a complication I haven't been able to use yet.
Great. Okay. I spent my value. Are we doing that narrative, or is that applying the artificial one?
So basically, if you want to say that you're using your value that allows you to spend a determination, which you get 1 determination every session, so you've got determination. You spend your determination and get a 2. It also lowers the number of dice you can roll because it counts towards your maximum number of dice, which isn't going to be relevant here anyway. But
it's basically a free critical.
It's basically a free critical on a die that you would roll. So you would use that. You would spend your determination point. You're not challenging your value, you're just using your value. Challenging your value is where you have to cross it out and find a new one, but that's not what you're doing here.
Yeah.
So yeah, you would be using your value, which you can only use 1 value. session, I think session.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, this is something very integral to Ambrose's character. So
Yes.
he's gonna play up this value. Okay, so I'm gonna use that to get 2 successes. You said difficulty 2, so I'm basically buying
right.
the success. Okay.
Yep.
But I still need to roll in case I roll complication. So I'm
Correct.
going to roll presence, command. I'm not going to worry about buying any dice because I've already succeeded. Okay.
You also get 2 bonus successes, or 2 bonus momentum, because you used my advantage because of my talent.
2 bonus momentum to use after the roll.
Yes. So
Okay.
if you succeed at the roll, you get 2 bonus momentum.
Of course, there's complication. What did I?
Here.
Yeah.
I think you forgot to put because you were using a focus, right?
Yes, I did forget to put the focus in, but I believe I rolled it.
You
What was
rolled
that
3.
other roll?
You rolled
That-
3.
oh, okay.
There we go. Fixed it. That was a straight up OBS problem there. All right. So you got your successes. You also got a complication. All right. I'm going to use that complication to add a note into my notes for future reference.
All right.
You have made an impression on the leaders.
Now I did succeed.
You did.
by quite a margin, so it should be a positive, respectful connection. But I am very much open to whatever complication you would like to tack on there.
Yes. I will use that complication for setting up a future thing, though. So I have noted that it is there. I know what I want it to be. I don't want to tell you what it is because it doesn't apply here.
All right.
You do get, during your conversation, you get a sense from Venru that he definitely finds some distaste with your tactics. You don't necessarily find that from Ladon, but you definitely get that impression from Venru.
Mm-hmm.
That will be a hint as to what your complication is. So yes, you succeed. He definitely, you get the impression that he's got you as at least a near peer, if not a peer. You are the leader of your people. What specific things did you want to know about? I mean, I'll add some information into the species Bible and give that to you guys when I get a chance. I have to redact some, so I'll put it in the series Bible so you guys know what is there. That's the information you guys actually have. But is there anything you specifically want to know about right now? Like, you get the RN, they definitely view themselves as both shepherds and benefactors of the RN. Like, they go out of their way to ensure that that species is protected, but at the same time they hunt them. It's a very symbiotic relationship is the word I'd be looking for. And you wanted to know about the other species, right?
Yes.
Yes.
The hostile species.
Mm-hmm.
Many months ago, we found that the group known as the Bishari, which is a name you guys should know, or at least have heard of.
Maybe that's the people I was thinking of.
Yeah. The Bishari have been moving in on our territory. Well, not our territory. Have been moving into the valley. They have discovered some of the outlying worlds in the valley, and From all we can tell, the Bishari are a people of war. They are covetous of the deaths of others. They have taken for their own reasons. The Ahren, a whole pod was wiped out, just left to suffer in space. And he says something in his language that roughly translate to organs. For what purpose we do not yet know. But we refused to provide them with our ships and our servitude. They seek the knowledge of how our ships move through space so quickly. Not information we wish to share with them.
Okay, going back through the notes, the Bishari, were they the species that the rock people referenced?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Is that nearby?
The rock planet is not nearby.
Okay.
Not really, no.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, they were mentioned as having an expansive territory.
Yes.
We don't know much about them.
You do not know much about the Bishari, no. This is only the second time you've heard of them, and you have not knowingly encountered any of them yet.
Mm-hmm.
Are they actively at war with the Bishari?
You don't get the impression that they are actively, like, that it's a long ongoing war. It's more of a, the Bishari made an aggressive action, and now they intend to retaliate.
They're about to be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can they tell us where the wormhole is? They said they thought that the breen came from a wormhole. Would they be able to tell us where that was?
They didn't have the information. They just said that the breen had said that they had came from a portal.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, could they tell us where the crashed breen ship is? Maybe that we could get some information from there.
They destroyed it.
Oh.
They destroyed all traces of the breen and Jemadar. That was the dealt with them comment.
Sure. I figured there was some wreckage left at least. But,
no, they threw it into the sun pretty much. Yeah, they clearly don't. They clearly subscribe to the F around and find out philosophy of things.
I see. Yeah, I think in general, just engaging in conversation that would lead them to talk about their travels, where they've been, and where they've encountered the Bishari.
Okay. They can give you locations where the Bishari are for sure, where some of their claimed regions are, and they'll show you on. He's happy to show you on any star charts that you might have that he recognizes. He actually has some star charts he can show you. They're difficult for you to recognize because you don't have the reference points necessarily.
Would they be willing to these guys? Would they be willing to accept a long-term embassy from the Federation?
That would probably require more work.
We'll get to
Not
that.
there yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet. Ambrose certainly wouldn't broach that just yet.
Okay.
They seem open to definitely being friendly with the Federation, though. Like there's definitely a sense of they trust you and they, they're happy to be working, to be speaking to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a whole long process to this sort of thing.
Sure, but I mean, like, when I say long-term embassy, I don't mean the physical location of an embassy. I mean a diplomatic mission to them.
Right.
That would
Yeah.
not be
That's not a conversation
Yeah.
to have on the first night.
Yeah.
They definitely give you the impression though, like they have said anytime you've brought up like their ownership or their any like home worlds or long-term anything else, what they basically keep telling you the same thing, which is the phrase they use is these worlds are vast and there is plenty for all.
Mhm.
Which means really they probably have no problem with having a long-term, like you can infer they probably have no problem with a long-term contact with the Federation at this point. That would be a pretty safe bet.
Have they told us what their structure is, like in terms of, like we know that this guy's in charge of this group. Is there like an overlord who's in charge of all the groups?
Hang on one sec. I'm solving another technical problem.
Oh, no worries. Your camera's black. Just
Yeah,
FYI.
because that's what the technical problem was. My camera screwed up. I was just finishing fixing it. All right. So they have not told you what the structure is. You can definitely garner some insights from what you've discussed, what you've talked to them with about and everything else, that there are a number of great houses, or for lack of a better term, great houses, tribes, bands within this group. And there are multiple groups. So there's this group, there are 8 groups inside of this group, but there are other groups outside of this group that are their own groups, have their own Rana, their own, everything else. So they are not the only group that lives in this valley.
So it's a tribal confederation.
It's a tribal confederation, and it's probably a tribal confederation. This is a tribal confederation, and there are probably other tribes outside of this one that are also out there that do similar things, that act in similar fashion to this group.
Oh, but wouldn't be in the hierarchy. There would be multiple groups.
They'd be their own hierarchies.
Okay. Oh.
So, and there is no like chief of chiefs. It's their groups are their own groups.
Yeah, that was mine.
Yeah.
That is.
Yep. So you would get that, and you could certainly ask them questions about that. He wouldn't have any hesitation in answering those kinds of things.
Sure.
The term that is used for this particular group of people, this particular confederation, is the Dajarun, D''Jarun, the Dajakan Heron.
Can we find out the names of the individual species? You said there's 3 different species. Can we find out who their names?
They don't refer to themselves as different species. They refer to them as a single species. That would be something that you guys would actually name them. They don't view themselves as once you are in this confederation, you are a member of this confederation. It doesn't matter what your race is.
Okay.
So are they different species, or are they different races within a same species?
They're likely different races within the same species, or different.
Okay.
They're different species in the same way that they're different races in the same way that D&D has different races.
D&D has different species. They just call it races.
Correct. Yeah. But they're all living in the same conglomeration. So they're all the same planet. They're all the same.
So when Varen scans their DNA, are they different species?
There are similarities.
Differentiated phenotypes of a singular line of.
They are similar. They're similar in the way that humans and like that they're similar in the way that the various species of human are similar. So there are humans.
Genes.
Right. Inside of humans, there is Homo sapien, Homo erectus, Neanderthal. Those are all humans, but they are different kinds of humans. So that's what you got here.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're the same genus, so they likely originated from the same world. They
Correct.
Can likely interbreed.
Correct.
Do they seem like one is more evolved than the others? Do these more diminutive ones have lesser intelligence, smaller brains?
From the scans, they don't appear to be any more, any lesser evolved. They obviously have evolved in different ways, but like their intelligence doesn't appear to be any lesser, and they're not treated poorly. They're clearly treated as a second class, but they're not like abused.
So there is a racial hierarchy.
There is a racial hierarchy. It looks like there's a 3-tiered system. You have warriors, they are their own. You have the leadership, which are their own, and you have the servitors that are their own.
Mhm.
It goes beyond that because he also tells you that the diminutive ones are also the harvesters. They're also the hunters. They're also they're the ones who provide for everyone else.
Okay. Interesting.
They're both in service and they're both seen as servants and as providers. So
At some point during the night, we'll be like talking amongst ourselves, I'm sure, at some point, and Elizabeth will comment, it's so odd that they have different species within this larger group, but they're not they're separated by geography, I guess, rather than by racial distinctions. That's pretty unusual. I'm just trying to do character stuff.
right.
Yeah, I'm just confused as to what you're separated by geography and not racial. They do have different racial features, and we've not seen much geography.
But they're within the same tribe. So rather than a tribe of the small guys, tribe of the medium guys, tribe of the big guys, they've got one tribe that contains 3 tiers.
Right.
Which is unusual. Just commented.
Yeah, it makes sense once you describe it that way.
Engage at the very least.
Gotcha.
Yes, it is rather unusual that 3 different, she would use the scientific term for it, but I don't know it right off the top of my head. 3 different subspecies of the same.
The fact that they are distinct. They all seem to have a role. Maybe their culture demands that only those members of that species carry out that duty. That would create a cultural imperative that why that all 3 of them would continue to exist, but not be in their own distinct quadrants. I use quadrant in the generic term, not the space term.
Also, there's only 3 of them, so not the literal term. I got what you're going for, though. I think it's a difficult conversation to actually have unless you know the scientific crap, and I don't either.
Right.
We have seen caste-based systems before, even in The Expanse. It is, however, interesting that this does seem to be the line seems to be drawn on a genetic level rather than a familial level.
I wonder if they grasp that our culture doesn't work the same way. The captain's the one speaking with them. Maybe they assume that members of his species are the ones in charge of our races.
Perhaps. All very important discussions to have in our continued sharing of culture and information.
I think that's good for that scene. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to add into that, or we can head over to Tong and let's go ahead over to Tong and Silva, anyways, to give that a chance to ruminate. You guys arrive aboard the Harvester. When you arrive there, you note, first of all, it's very clean. It's an extremely clean ship. And the species that are the grouping that is on there, excuse me, the smaller, more diminutive group. And in that, there's also appears to be a divide. That you notice that some of them are working as like manual laborers, and some of them appear to be engineering, and you know, it appears to be much more of a diversified crew. than first glance on the planet would have appeared. You guys didn't wear on the planet, so it didn't much matter. But you're greeted by a handful of the little species, and they it's like, welcome aboard the ship. You've come to help us do repairs for the leak. And he looks at Tong and like it kind of nods a little bit. Says, you are the engineer, yes?
Yes, yes, Lieutenant Tong, at your service. Of course, we are here to help. It is a pleasure to meet you and your people.
Yes. There is much work to be done. Please come this way. And the other looks at Silva and says, your role is what? What do you do?
Moral support. No, I'm here to just keep an eye on things.
I see. You are overseer. You come this way as well, please.
Sure.
They take you back towards the back end of the ship. As you get into the main compartments, you go through the little section where the shuttle bay is and into what looks like a fairly major compartment. There is a substantial operation going on inside this ship. They are bringing in a lot of material from the Aren, and it is being divided into various sections aboard the ship. One of the sections that is near the area that you're headed, as you're heading back there, you see more and more of this section appears to be harvesting some kind of fluid and refining it into an energy source, essentially. As you get back, Tong, as you get back to the engineering section where the storage containment units are, you can see that whatever the material they're harvesting is basically the fuel they're using for their FTL drive. They're harvesting their entire means of being able to go faster than light from the Aren.
I just want to note I have the talent constantly watching, so if I detect a hidden danger or enemy, the difficulty is reduced by 1. I just want to note that.
That's assuming, yeah, Silva. Yeah. So far they appear to be pretty much up and up. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Look at the engine. Wow, they managed to completely bypass the need for dilithium entirely. That's pretty inventive of them. One.
Very interesting. Very interesting. We know the Aren are capable of, obviously warp speed. So they may have found some way to refine that for a more mechanical use as opposed to biological.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
This will be exciting.
Although that must mean that this species, the Aren, are crucial to them. If something were to happen to the Aren, they'd be completely, all their ships would be grounded.
It looks that way. Yeah, that would be unfortunate.
Go ahead and give me an engineering scan. You can also give me a biological scan if you want to do that, Silva.
Okay. So I spent that opportunity cost on that device. Could I use that device to do a scan on just to get all the specifications of their ship?
Yeah. I mean, not necessarily all of them, but you'd get a significant amount of them. It's a pretty big ship to scan all at once, but yeah.
Sure. I'm espionage information gathering, I guess is
right.
Can I use my espionage focus on that?
Yeah.
Cool.
Would I be able to use my electroplasma power systems, or is this too foreign?
It is pretty foreign. It is also electroplasma systems in a sense. That's a tough one. I'm going to go ahead and allow it.
Okay. Difficulty?
Difficulty is 2. For both of you.
Okay.
Do we still only have 2 momentum?
You have 3.
3. Okay.
I would like to use one of them.
It's one to buy another die, right?
Correct.
Yes.
I'll go ahead and use one as well.
Okay.
Nice.
Nice. Also good.
Not as nice, but it is.
Still pretty good. All right. So Silva, you get a pretty good amount of information from their ship. You can get some basic. You could pick one area of their ship systems to be able to have information on, like either tactical, life support, propulsion, something like that. You could get one of those and just basically get a full readout of that.
Yeah, weapons.
Weapons, okay. We'll get back to that.
I have no. We're not going to attack them, but
Right.
if it comes up,
So 4 though, that gets you a good amount of information. First of all, you see the problem with the system, and it is not a difficult fix for you at all. A simple, basically light welder or some assistant, some equivalent thereof would solve this problem in a matter of minutes, without having to land it or do anything really. You just can get in there and just weld it up and fix it. But you also find that it is not a wholly mechanical ship. There is a definitive biological component to the ship. It's similar in a lot of ways to the Ahren. In a lot of the same ways that Europa has biological components, this ship has biological components, but it's more integrated. It's not a biological ship, but it has a lot of biological components. So
it's not a biomechanoid ship that was born and seems to create its own mechanical components. It's a mechanical ship that has grafted into it synthetically created organic components. Okay.
Correct. Yep. It is similar in technology to the way that it was done on the Halloran station. So they had their AI was being controlled by an organic being. It is similar in fashion here. That there is a deep level of integration with the biological components that are here, but it is not a natively biological ship.
The organic components in this system, does it look like that is what is? Have they created these biological components to basically travel in the same way that the Iran do?
Yes, pretty much.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, they're wholly dependent, as you can tell now by looking at this, on the Haren to have any kind of space travel, or at least any kind of FTL travel. And likely it is integrated to the point of these ships would not function at all without the stuff they harvest from the Haren.
So you said this is a fairly easy fix for Tong, but they don't know that. So right. Tong is going to take his merry time doing this and get as many scans as learn as much about this completely alien warp drive that they seem to have.
Sure. There's only so much you're going to get because you're not a biologist, but you can get a lot of the mechanical. You'll get pretty much the mechanical side of it without too much difficulty. And as for Silva, you get a reading of the weaponry aboard ship, and there appears to be basically 3 levels of the weaponry on the ship. One is low power, kind of mostly low power. I mean, relatively low power. Then you've got some actual offensive weaponry, one of which is a fairly large torpedo-like device that the yield on it is substantial, and it appears to have the capabilities of piercing through thick pieces of armor. A bunker buster, for lack of a better term.
That's good to know that these little things could turn into torpedo boats.
Yeah.
That's what they use to take out the Iran, right?
Correct. Yeah, they call them. I mean, they're basically harpoons.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're harpoons that also
harpoons.
they're basically quantum harpoons. Harpoons They're on
Would they
they are on the scale of quantum torpedoes.
Oof.
Okay. Would they be just as effective against a starship with shields as a quantum torpedo?
No, but they would probably destroy a ship without shields. Like
Okay.
almost certainly destroy pretty quickly a ship without shields.
That's good to know. I will file that away for.
They also have energy weaponry that is on scale to not quite the Europa's level, but like a generation older than the Federation technology. So it's not way behind as far as the weaponry goes. They're substantial powered ships.
Would I be able to get the enough information that we could modulate our shields against it, at least temporarily?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be that the technology isn't that different from Federation technology. So yeah, it wouldn't be that hard to do. It wouldn't, I mean, again, they probably have the same capabilities as far as modulating goes. So
Sure.
if you're cycling your shields, they can probably cycle their phasers also. So.
Sure. But it might give us an advantage, at least for a time.
It probably provide a temporary advantage, yeah.
Okay. Scylla will lean over and look over Tom's shoulders as we're both doing our own scans, and she says, "You're pretty good with that scanner there."
Oh, it certainly comes in handy.
Did you find anything interesting?
Yes, I did. Look at this here. This goes to that organic component over there. That looks like one of the organs that he listed off some scientist he was chatting up earlier. Right. It was mentioned in the RN, and this seemed that organ seemed to produce this sort of fluid, or at least what this derivative fluid is based off of, and that goes over here, and that ties into this electroplasma assembly, and then it looks like they've constructed their ships and created some sort of synthetic organic components to be able to, well, essentially work the way the Aren do. It's incredible.
She just smiles and crosses her arms for a moment while she listens, and she says, "You're cute when I have no idea what you're saying."
Blushes bright red. Well, and then this bypass system is incredibly elegant. You would think integrating two different, like, mechanical systems and organic systems. I mean, when we're looking at, and he goes on, like he nervously dives into a rant.
Okay, Tom. Do we have what we need? Have we plugged the leak? Gotten the information we need?
Oh yeah, I finished that like half an hour ago.
That's my boy. Well, then what do you say we get back to the ship?
He will stand up proudly and turn to whoever looks like they're in charge or paying attention. We have fixed your leakage problem. Everything should be good to go now.
I see. Moments, please. And he grabs a scanner and goes and starts scanning. Oh, it is very well done. This should hold for some. Yes, this is very good. And then
that's Starfleet quality right there.
He looks at you and pats you on the shoulder. Excellent, excellent. You come now, come. And they begin ushering you back towards the ship.
Okay, we'll go.
It's glad to see somebody appreciate fine craftsmanship.
You get back to the runabout, and as you arrive at the runabout, you see that there are a number of their little people that are leaving the area quickly. They have clearly been doing their own deep investigation.
Fair's fair, she'll think to herself.
You board ship, and there doesn't appear to be anything out of place. But yeah, there's a lot of footprints.
Sure.
Oh, they actually managed to get into the ship.
Yeah, they were actually.
Don't we have security features for that?
There are, in fact, security features for that, but there are footprints inside.
So I will do a quick scan just to see if I can get an idea of we don't have to worry about the exact details, but sure. I would like to note what they may have found out just for the intelligence logs.
Sure. Yeah. they seem to have spent a particular amount of time focusing on the giant box in the middle of the room, which is the transporter, the replicator system, and your weapon systems.
Okay.
Yeah, Tong's gonna do like a full diagnostic on this ship now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to make sure there's no sabotage. The Silva will also, the two of them can be working shoulder to shoulder on that.
Yeah. As you're flying back, you do the probably level 3 diagnosis.
Did you forget to lock the airlock? I'm pretty sure we locked the airlock.
We did. They're inventive little buggers.
There was definitely a breach in your system. The ship notes the breach, but doesn't appear to. The security system doesn't appear to have the fail safes appear to have been bypassed. It looks like it was a pretty masterful piece of hacking.
Silva will shrug. They're better with technology than they're let on.
Apparently. Very interesting.
It does note that the biometric the biometric security feature was bypassed by Lieutenant by Silva with like a 92% probability of it actually being correct. So they may have taken some.
So they hacked the biometrics.
They may have taken they may have taken some DNA when they were scanning the ship and whatnot. DNA is so easy to get, you know what I mean?
Yeah. She'll note in her pad that advise for future contacts we switch to a dual purpose we eschew the biometrics and do a dual increased security measures.
Right. Two-factor authentication from going forward.
Right.
I had to pull out your phone. Do you want to open the door? Yes.
Yes. Oh God. Contact Europa. Yes, open the door, please.
Would you like to start the engine? God damn it. Every single thing.
But yeah, there doesn't appear to be any damage done. Your diagnostic comes back as clean. There's no you got that the biometrics was how they hacked it, but there's nothing out of place, nothing was added, nothing was removed.
No bombs.
No bombs. You know, they appear to have done a relatively non-invasive, like you were in their ship, they were in your ship, it's a fair game kind of deal.
Yeah.
So
well, is there anything more we want out of that scene?
All right. Back to wherever you guys want to go. I don't have a whole lot else for tonight. That was the majority of the getting the information. We jumped the shark on a lot of the information by just making the roll and giving you information, which is fine. I have no problem with that. I'm just not sure where else to go with that.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you guys want to have a conversation with them.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I think we do is talk about potential trade. That's something that's done on First Contacts as well. Is there anything they need? Is there anything we might be able to offer them in the long term? I'm sure that would be left for the majority. That would be left for the diplomats, but it wouldn't hurt to ask.
Right.
And I think it comes down to how long this first contact is going to be. I don't know if that's something we want to discuss, like
you get the
right
distinct
at this first feast, but if we're going to be here and interacting with these people for a week, let's set up some sort of information exchange, cultural exchange, see if we can trade, like we have this stuff and you can trade us some Aren parts or whatever it may be. But going straight into business on the first night seems little.
Yeah, they'll probably, I mean, they're going to be here for several days at least, which obviously you guys can be as well. And that's something we can do. Like that is an approach to definitely attack probably between sessions with we'll do it with a roll and set things up with that. This session, like tonight, what you're seeing in this party here tonight appears to be like this is an all-night bender kind of like we are back on planet, we are celebrating, we have gotten an Aren, we are celebrating, we are still alive, we are celebrating, we're going to go to war, we are celebrating kind of, kind of party.
Yeah, there's like music and tribal dancing and drinks. And
eventually there does turn into that. Yeah. Everyone goes back outside and the
people pass around a rain stick.
Yeah. A lot of drums.
Do we have to drink in order to avoid offending them? Please say yes.
You are definitely going to be offered a lot of beverages. Whether or not they take offense to you not drinking them is, Ambrose might be offended. Since Ambrose is a peer, he might have to drink, but
Does the captain order us to drink?
The captain will not order you to drink. This is where Dasavi would have come in handy. Provide some sort of anti-intoxicant inoculation.
Right.
No, Ambrose is not a stranger to drinking, so he will try to. He will partake in a reasonable, respectful manner, but being aware of his limits and trying not to pass them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
he has
drink
a
isn't
best-
like, it isn't a super strong. It's not, not dwarven meat or anything like that. It's strong because they're large creatures, but it's not strong.
Blood wine.
Yeah, it's not. It's it's more of a. It definitely has a more of a mead flavor to it. Like it is distilled from some kind of, again, organic substance that is not. It's not a fermented wheat or grain. It's more like honey or some other kind of nectar. It's sweet and it's very good, and it goes down very easy. And they drink a lot of it. They drink like
Mills does
Klingons.
not
It's just not as
partake.
strong as Klingon stuff.
Would that be something that would come in a standard away mission first aid pack?
An anti-intoxicant.
Yeah.
Well, they point out that there is drugs that, like, if you are drunk, they get you sober. So
Yeah.
you know, we could just drink until we need to, and then take the anti-intoxicants.
There's
But-
probably definitely something that would help sober you up a little faster.
Oh, I know in that episode of DS9,
Yeah,
they took something beforehand so that they could drink like Klingons.
Right.
There's a couple.
But I don't know if we have that just on hand. on
probably.
specific
I-
mission.
I doubt that would be a standard issue
Yeah.
thing. So
Elizabeth will definitely drink some for fear of offending the hosts.
Yeah.
Whether or not they were actually offended or not is immaterial. She assumes they will. So,
Ambrose will very pointedly tell Varen to keep an eye on everyone because Vulcans don't drink.
right.
She's our designated
isn't-
driver.
Mills is not drinking either because she's on duty in security.
Right.
Very good.
The other security guards
Yes.
don't seem to hold that same mentality. They're not drinking to
Mills
Mills
excess.
is
or
giving
anything,
them all sorts of side eyes.
but- yeah, they're not drinking to
Elizabeth-
excess or anything. But go ahead, Brian.
Elizabeth will talk to Mills. She's gonna go, come on, you gotta have something. You can't now. If I drink alone, I'm the weirdo. Please.
You're not
one-
drinking alone, you're drinking with the captain.
That's even worse.
It's a bonding
Come on.
experience.
I don't want to bond with the captain. I want to bond with you. Come on. One drink.
We can bond on ship when I'm not on duty and we're not in a place where a wrong gesture could accidentally start a war.
All right. I feel like things have been awkward between us. Is it cause I know you hated me?
I didn't hate you. You just stepped on my toes a lot. But we can have that conversation in private too.
I'm sorry. Hage is
Why?
sorry too.
Well, tell Hage I appreciate it.
He says you're welcome.
At some point in the evening, the ongoing connection that you are obviously forming with Ladon grows a bit stronger, and you notice my words, Venru gestures to a couple of guards, and after having a conversation with Ladon on their own, like you guys were talking for a while, then he goes off and talks to Venru for a little bit and so on. After a few minutes, Venru pulls out a communicator, or what you assume is a communicator. It looks a lot kind of like the old the old flip phone communicators from Enterprise era, from Next Gen era, you know what I mean, TSO era,
Mhm.
TOS area. Kirk's cell phone pulls it out.
Mhm.
Something is said something is said between him and whatever, and then he closes it and gestures for a couple of the guards, and they storm out is a strong word, but leave with purpose. Sometime near the middle of the night.
Okay.
Do,
Can
do
I?
they dance?
What's that?
Do they dance? The
Yes.
aliens.
Yes, they do.
Elizabeth will dance with them.
Okay.
But go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Do I get any empathic read off of Venru or his cohort?
The guards, they're just, you know, again, professional. Like, we've been told to go, we're going. The basic read on Venru is it's not anger, but it's verging on anger for sure. Concern verging on anger.
Okay.
Their emotions you get from the majority of of these creatures, these aliens that are down here. Their emotions are pretty strong. Like, they definitely, like, when they feel joy, they feel a lot of joy. When they, you know, when they feel worried, they feel a lot worried. But from both Ladon and Venru, it is definitely more repressed. But you get the impression that they are trained. It's not, you can sense it, but they seem to be definitely trained in controlling their emotions.
Mm.
Like, they're definitely still
Okay.
there, but
They're not psychically repressing them like a
No.
Romulan would.
no, they're physically, yeah, no, they're just physically controlling their emotional states.
Cool.
So, all right. Anybody got anything else?
No. Can't
so-
wait to play up Elizabeth's hangover, but
Yeah.
I don't
So-
know.
Over the course of the night, the party rages on, and it's very, there are large bonfires. There are a lot of drinking, and around dawn, a lot of the participants begin heading back to their tents, and the servitor class people start moving in. They also celebrated, but a lot of them did anyways. But they appear to be working in shifts, and they're now coming in to clean everything up. And when they clean things up, they clean it like they get cleany. Like, the logs that are burnt, they're restacked or they're moved in such a way that there's no everything. It clearly is clearly something that everything has a place, and everything will be in its place when these people wake up again. Kind of situation. Like, they're very diligent and very precise in what they're doing. And you definitely get the impression as you're beginning to drift off into being awake too long haze, and having a little bit too much to drink. You get the distinct impression psychically that it is very regimented. What they're doing is their emotion is must complete task kind of thing. You know, they're hyper focused on what they're doing. But other than that, there's a very pleasant atmosphere in the camp. The music begins to die down. Throughout the course of the night, it was a very rhythmic type of music. So it's very beat heavy, very drum heavy, and pan flutes, kind of like something similar to pan flutes. But yeah, everything basically is dying down, and it's now becoming early. Many hours have passed. So if you're going to return back to the ship, you can. If you want to try to stay on the planet, you can also do that. I believe you beamed down, so you don't have a ship to go back to on the planet. So
yeah, towards the end of this party, I would go over to Ladon. Ladon, it has been an absolute pleasure enjoying your hospitality and the festivities that you have put on. I thank you for the good times we've shared.
it has been my sincerest pleasure, Captain Arani Ambrose. And he reaches out, puts his hand on your shoulder, which you've seen them do. It's not your shoulder, but like almost like your like just above your elbow. It seems to be a greeting that they do. It has been a sincere pleasure to have met you. These worlds are vast, and there is plenty for all. I hope to see you again.
Well, in that line, I would invite you should you be so pleased, to enjoy my own hospitality, to visit our ship if you have the time during your stay here.
This is something that would interest me greatly. I will have my people contact you, but first, I must sleep, and I must deal with Venru and his concerns. I will bring joy to your ship as you have brought joy to our lands. To these lands. Again, I keep saying our. To these lands.
Very good, my new friend. And I'll reach out and do the same, grab his arm. It is time we retire, then. I wish you a restful sleep. We'll be in touch.
Rest well. As you beam out, you see him. You get you get the impression as you're beaming out that he is cautiously hopeful as you beam out.
All right. Ambrose as well.
Yeah.
And Ambrose heads straight to medbay.
I need to not be drunk.
Yeah.
Okay. Any scenes you guys want to have aboard ship? I assume that you're just getting an inoculation against the.
Is that a scene we would like to have between Ambrose and Dasabi?
Sure.
Do that.
I'm up for it.
Yes,
Question: does it ruin your high like Narcan does?
That's for you guys to roleplay. So Narcan is a drug that's used to
right. Yeah.
reverse opioids, and it really harshes your buzz.
Yeah.
I mean, really harshes your life for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I beam back on board, I think as soon as I recorporealize, I'm immediately going to Dr. Dasabi, please meet me in medbay.
Yes, Captain.
Fast forward.
Yeah.
And I'll walk in, very clearly spending way too much effort trying to. I mean, he's not like
trashed,
but I mean, Starfleet personnel are used to drinking synthahol, and every once in a while they might pop the cork on some actual like fancy stuff that has to be imported Romulan ale or Andorian ale, or everything seems to be ale, even though it's clearly liquor. So he will very almost mechanically walk into the room, but he's quite flush. We had quite a time on the away mission. I'd like to hear how things went up here, but first, I believe I am in need of your medical assistance.
I can see you had quite a time.
Diplomacy.
Things went. Probably should sit down before your diplomacy finds itself on the floor, sir. Kind of smirks. Throw open my shoes. Rummages around in a drawer. Pulls out a hypo. All right. This, fair warning, might be a bit of a shock. So
it's
jab you with the hypo.
Not my first time having to resort to this.
All right.
Yeah, it probably doesn't do much for the hangover.
No, but we should have electrolytes in a spray, right?
Right.
Let's follow it up with some space Gatorade.
Space-erade.
And aspirin. Space-erade.
I'll be feeling that in the morning or in a few hours.
I got you. So rummage around again. Hit you with another hypo. That should clear up any unpleasant after effects.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome.
That was quite a first contact.
We've gone for many hours.
Very interesting people. That went a lot more smoothly than I expected it to.
Always a good thing.
There are some concerns, however. These people do seem to have a very strong connection to the Aren, so we must make sure that anytime we are anytime we're in the presence of the Aren, that we treat them well, stay out of their way, which shouldn't be a problem. But they also seem to be riling for war with the Bishari, that race we heard of. Ambrose would remember the name of the rock people.
Lamarian.
Lamarian?
Yep.
The race the Lamarians warned us about. They seem to have ventured into this territory. So we should keep an eye on them, and we should keep an eye on how these, I think they referred to themselves as the
Dijarin, Herim, or Herin.
Jack and Heren.
I'll give it to you guys in a note shortly.
Yeah. But we're welcome in this space. They don't seem to claim any territory. I simply, it provides for them.
Well, that makes our job a good deal easier.
It does. I'm interested in seeing if we can find where that wormhole deposited the Jem'Hadar, the Dominion. I'd like to make sure we know where the border of these Bishari are. I was shown some star charts, and I can, I'm sure we have that information uploaded already. There's definitely things to keep an eye on out here, but it seems we've made, tentatively, a new friend out here.
Oh, good. Jeffrey,
Yes.
would I have been able to get a pinpoint on that wormhole?
No.
Okay. We could not pick up anything in our scans from where we are. We may need to be closer to it, assuming it's still active.
It's likely intermittent. As far as I'm aware, there's only one stable wormhole, and, well, that's DS9.
At DS9.
I think it's very fortunate that we did not bring Kendall on this first contact mission. But I have plenty of reports for her to go over, and it seems that these people will be in system for quite some time. I invited their leader, Rena Ladan, to enjoy the hospitality of this ship. So perhaps she can be part of that delegation.
All right. In the Valley of Plenty
Good.
scientific notes document, I have added information that you would have gained from this this episode.
Okay.
Some information that you
Thank
would have gained. It is not complete.
That's. No, I'm certain she'll be happy to have an opportunity to meet them. Hopefully, we can show them as rousing hospitality as they showed us.
Well, perhaps not as rousing, but a pleasant stay at the very least. I understand everything went well with the engineering assistance we provided.
Yes, I presume you guys gave me a report.
Yeah, including the reports about what we found out on the slide.
Yes, they were able to fix the leak. It does seem the sort of as we suspected, they are using whatever it is that allows the Ren to warp as their fuel for their ships. They also have some incredibly devastating harpoons, for as almost rudimentary as they seem. The shot that we saw that took the RN down would do about the same to a ship, that as long as it didn't have its shields up. Something to definitely keep in mind.
Yes.
Their technological prowess is also, again, impressive for as comparatively simple as they seem. They managed to bypass, as far as we can tell, all of the security measures on the runabout, gained access inside, bypassed the biometrics.
That is concerning.
It is.
We should make sure to do a complete diagnostic of any of our sensor systems and communication systems, make sure that they're not attempting any sort of remote hacking.
Indeed.
I would be surprised if they are, but it seems they are capable of doing so. We should see to it that, I feel like this is one of the benefits to having an AI on board. We can broach that with, what's his name?
Foxwell.
Foxwell. We can broach that with Foxwell and Eva. Perhaps they can provide additional counter cyber combat expertise.
Will do.
I think there's a lot we can learn from these people. Hopefully in the coming days and weeks, we can exchange information, culture, technologies. Cautiously optimistic.
Good.
I think that's good.
Yep. Anyone else have anything else they want to do, or do you want to wrap up there?
Seems like a good stopping point.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, let's see. What moment stands out most to you this evening?
I think them being able to hack into the ship. The runabout.
Yeah, I liked I liked Elizabeth just going all out. Like, yeah, you know what? Party time.
There were a lot of good cinematic moments in my mind theater today. The hunting of the Aren, the party.
I loved the chemistry between Silva and Tom.
That scene was darling.
Yeah.
I like that. What did you or your character learn today? There's lots there.
Lots there. Yeah. We learned all about them.
Everything.
What did you see from the character or player that you would like to see more of in the future? I would like to see more of the interaction between Silva and Tong, but that's been an ongoing I want to see more of. But that was pretty good.
I want to see more where the Kendall arc is going.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, I'd like to see
definitely more between Kendall and Dasavi, and seeing the two sides of that mom coin, commander coin.
Right. I'd like to see where that goes next. I will say that we can, if we go to the who best embodied their character or what role playing moment stands out most, which is a very similar question. I feel like Dasavi got tangled up in the commander crew member mom situation, and I don't know, Evelyn, you seemed like you were off guard in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was not, but Dasavi was.
Okay. So I liked that, and I'd like to see how that develops, because I feel like Dasavi, I feel like that was a departure for Dasavi. I feel like Dasavi is normally very confident in what she's doing, and she knows, and she's solid. So I think that was a little bit of a departure, and I'd like to see how that plays out.
I'm gonna put this out here. If it ends up being decided that it's untenable for Kendall to stay on the ship, I don't mind writing her out of the campaign. I mean, like, I'm enjoying her as a character, and I think she's got an interesting arc coming up. But I just want to say, don't feel we have to bend over backwards to keep her in the game. I can always create another NPC. You know, I love doing that. So.
I don't think. I mean, we'll see how it plays out, but I don't think it'll necessarily come to that. I think
Sure.
we'll see how it goes organically.
Yeah, I'm seeing it going a number of different ways. I was just saying that one's on the table.
We might have I might have an idea for something we can do later that would add some additional drama to the situation. So we'll discuss that later. But I don't see her having to go anywhere anytime soon. So
sure. I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah.
I did really like that scene though with Kendall and Dasavi, and then bringing Ambrose in, because Jack was ready to shoot down Kendall hard as Ambrose, but Kendall actually handled that real well, and Ambrose resonated with that, and didn't give in, but is definitely leaning into that situation. Right. And then on the other side of the coin, kind of had to come down a little bit on Dasavi. Stop being mom, you're commander now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I liked the notion that by Kendall refusing to seek any kind of help, that she is potentially jeopardizing her career. And I like that. That is a conversation that I think would be really fun to have with Kendall at some point.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just to see how she reacts to it, if she steps up or doesn't.
It would be interesting to have another, counseling scene between Kendall and Renewal, if that's something that she would do.
Yeah,
I'd be up for that, but I would say I do think it'd also be interesting to see Ambrose involved in that too.
Yeah,
he's one of the few people who could understand what she's going through, just in terms of having telekinetic powers and not having them anymore.
Yeah.
So
when we go off air, I have an idea that I'll bring up with you guys and see how you float it. What? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, do we? This isn't quite answering the question, but I do want to put it out there as a general wish, kind of.
Yeah.
I would love to see us have to join one of these hunts at some point, like circumstances.
I have that plan.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a plan.
Right, I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I have a lot more to go with this group of these Harins, and there are other Harins out there that you guys will encounter. So
I understand now.
What Harin means?
Yeah.
That is the Tribal Confederation.
Yeah.
I was trying to explain that earlier and I didn't really get it, and so I put it in the notes, and
that helps. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah. And feel free to ask questions. You guys know a lot about these people now, and you're going to be spending a week with them. Mm-hmm. You can learn a lot. And I'm going to put in I'll probably put it up Friday. Trying to think what days I actually have available, but in the show notes, in the show Bible, I'll have what you guys know of them.
Awesome.
If you could change one thing about the session, what would it be? Mine would be that I had 3 technical failures in the middle of the show, which I don't understand because everything was running perfectly.
I would have loved to see somebody get drunk with Yesada.
With Chirka?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else got anything?
I would like to see. I would like to have more time as Varen, but it made sense that Ambrose was, my main character in that scene. So she was just in the background with her scanner scanning everything possible.
Right.
But in the future, when Ambrose doesn't have to be there, I think Varen would be perfect for this specific.
Right.
I would love to see more of Varen's interpersonal reactions, like not just what she does on the job, but like who she is. Would love
Yeah.
to see more.
She's a Vulcan. She is her job.
Right.
But that's not true. About
No, I know.
You watch the show, they're all very different. But I would love to get more of an idea of what Uveran is.
Yeah. I love playing Vulcans. I really want to play my previous Vulcan from your game again. Oh, the stories I could have told with him. Anybody else have anything else they want to add? Evelyn, do you have anything you want to change about the session?
Not really anything that's changeable. I had a really frustrating afternoon, and it took me out of that, yay, I'm excited to play, into a, I have no spoons, only flamethrowers, and had a bit of a time really getting into things today.
Yeah, I was the exact same way. There are no spoons. There is no spoons, only Zool.
You were both delightful to play.
Well, thanks.
Through.
I did
We got a
find
good
it
game
eventually,
out of
but
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just good at faking it. So I don't have anything else.
I know all about that.
Yeah. I don't have anything else unless you guys have anything else you want to add. I think we can go ahead and call it a night.
Yeah.
All right. So just to wrap things up, check us out on Patreon. I've got a couple Patreon subscribers now. I have to actually thank them, and give me 1 second. I will try to talk over myself while I'm finding my Patreon because I lost it. Patreon. I lost it. I don't know where it's at, but that's on me. I owe them an apology. Clicking this button now. Taking my sweet time about this. I don't know. Okay, it's not working. So anyway, I do owe 2 Patreon subscribers a shout out. I will give them that at the beginning of next episode instead of the end of this one. Other than that, I said there's a new show out called Against Boredom. The first episode was released today. There are some technical issues in that one too, but that was done live, and there was some drinking involved. So, yeah, it was a good show. I like Chris from I Am Dynamite did a great job, so I'm glad he came on. And I got some more of those coming out soon. Again, every other week for that one, just because I don't have time to do them other than that. Yeah, if you want to give one last shout out to where they can find you, Jack.
Sure. Yeah, you can find me over at my own channel, twitch.tv/The People's Ascension, and over on YouTube, youtube.com/ a whole string of numbers and letters. But if you would like to help me make that youtube.com/The People's Ascension, go over and give me a subscribe over there. That's the metric they use. Go over and hit that subscribe button over there, so I can get enough followers over there to get a nice, simple youtube.com/The People's Ascension. There's a lot of great stuff over there. Not much going on Twitch right now. I am working on setting up the 3rd season of RPGs Uncovered, a series dedicated to showing just how quick and easy it is to learn a new TTRPG. But you can find all of the previous seasons of that show over on YouTube, as well as a number of fun little series that we've done before. And the most recent thing I did was the Cyberpunk charity stream for Ukraine that is also up on the YouTube. You can go check that out if you want to see some really fun cyberpunk mayhem. It was an amazing show. We raised $300, which got quadrupled to $1,200 for a great cause. Go check out Roll versus Evil. That was founded by some of the founders of Modifius, obviously, who made Star Trek Adventures here. So go look at them. That's Roll versus Evil. Go support them if you can, because they're a great cause.
Yeah. I saw you had that show going on. I thought it was pretty interesting. I didn't unfortunately have time to go check it out. But yeah, it was pretty cool.
I plan on doing a number more charity streams because it was very successful. We raised a lot of money. I met a lot of new people. We had a lot of people in chat, and it was just such a fun time because we got the audience involved with charity buys. So when you donated, it would unlock various things that would happen in game, like weapon drops or special ammo or me making things more difficult. So yeah, I will be sure to announce when I'm doing my next charity stream because it was a ton of fun.
Awesome. The 2 patrons, I will give them a shout out now. It's Thomas Moore and Brian Kruger. And so thank you guys for following, for liking us on Patreon. I got more stuff coming out for that. Yeah. And the backlog episodes of Europa are all done and should be uploading tomorrow. So, yeah, I'm way backlogged on all my stuff. So, that's it for me. So long and thanks for all the fish.